Hello, everyone. This is Kerwin with Travel Talk. And today we're going to be talking about that thing that people hate to hear when you travel is insurance. How to get insurance. Should you get insurance? Let's go. So travel insurance is something that people never think about. But over the last few years, during COVID, it became very apparent that insurance is important. And so now more people are getting it, which is really good, right? Uh, so what is travel insurance? Travel insurance is insurance that protects you when you are traveling. Now, there are different types of, kind of a weird definition, right? But there are different types of travel insurance. And it's always been an option. Matter of fact, travel insurance have been around uh, many years, long before all this stuff is going on. But people never really thought about it. They just thought it's a bother. But there are different levels of travel insurance you can get. And I have countless examples of my friends who have had travel insurance. And if it wasn't for travel insurance, it would make their lives a little different. One of my friends, her son and her was in Mongolia, and he fell off a horse, and they had to do a medevac from Ulaanbaatar, I think it was, over to Hong Kong to get, whatever treatment that he needed. She was a little excited because it was a private jet, and it was all paid for by the insurance. Now that's called medevac. Another friend of mine, he was in somewhere in the jungle in South America, and he went back to get his camera from a boat that he was on, and he slipped and he hurt his back. And so he had to stay there for a little bit and get treatment, and then he had to get medevaced out to Toronto, I think it was, or someplace in Canada, to be taken care of. And this was covered by his insurance. I think he actually had a policy from American Express at the time. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm just telling you this so you can be prepared when you travel. The thing with travel insurance is you need to know what did you buy. A lot of the airlines and travel portals and things like that will sell you insurance at the end. So when you buy your airline ticket at the end and say, hey, you should get a ticket, and they kind of make it scary. So you do not want to protect your $5,000 investment with a $40 thing, is kind of how they usually say it. Now, they do get commission from insurance, as do I. I have a insurance thing, passradar.com/travel insurance. And I do get a commission whenever one of my readers use the link and purchase insurance. I also have my own insurance. I have a 1-year policy. I think I have it with Allianz now. I used to have it with another company, but I realized I wasn't covered as much as I needed to, because I think something happened. And when I looked at the policy, my phone broke. And when I looked at the policy, I realized my phone was not covered. And I'm like, well, I'm a traveler. I need to make sure that my equipment is covered. So you need to look at the first thing you need to do before you buy the policy is look at it. Make sure you don't have to buy the policy when you buy the airline ticket. You can always go back and buy the policy if that's what you want to do. Because right there, you don't know what you're covered for, right? So there are things like you can get covered for lost baggage, and there's a coverage amount that's associated with that. You could get covered if your flight is delayed. You could get covered if your flight is canceled. Like if you have to, let's say your flight is canceled and you have to book a hotel, airlines didn't cover it, or you have onward journey, so your flight got canceled, you had to get a cruise the next day. Sometimes the insurance will cover parts of the cruise so you don't lose out. So those are the things that you really need to check. It's an insurance policy, so most times nothing happens and you're fine. And people are like, well, I went on this trip and nothing happened, and you don't get it. And now is the time that you actually need it. I remember I was on a flight and we had a I think my insurance ran out and I didn't renew it. And we were taking off and we had a bird strike. And I had to spend quite a bit of money to get home because of the bird strike. And I didn't have the insurance. So had I had the insurance, I would have been covered somehow for something, but I didn't have it, and so it wasn't covered. So the biggest question people have to ask is, like, how much am I covered? When you do the policies, it tells you how much you're covered for. And sometimes you can actually increase the amount that you're covered for on the policies. So make sure you check. You can get insurance per trip, or you can get like an annual if you're going to be traveling a lot. I have an annual, and I recommend an annual if you're going to be traveling quite a bit. The amount you pay is based on your age, and it's also based on where you live. So, for example, one of the policies I had didn't cover COVID if you were in the state of Texas. So that didn't work for me. So I actually had to, for the longest, for about 2 years, I had two policies. Well, actually for a year. When I realized I wasn't covered for COVID because I'm in Texas, I had to buy another policy. So I was covered. So I had two policies for that time. Um, some countries require that you have insurance to enter. And so you have to buy it. During COVID, this was a really big thing. And some countries already had that, and they just continued doing that. So make sure you check that. If you do not have the insurance when you enter the country, some of them you have to buy it on the spot. It's just a part of the entry into into that particular country. So you do have to check that you have travel insurance. It is not a bad thing to have. One thing too is some credit card companies will cover you with travel insurance. So you need to check that. You may have, like, if you're in a car, the credit card company might cover you for the insurance because you rented the car with that credit card. Sometimes they'll cover you for up to a certain amount, and this works for flights, hotels, or anything like that. The whole thing is this peace of mind, right? I mean, if you're only going to pay, so you paid, your trip is going to cost you $20,000 or something, right? Because you're going for a week, family of four, and you're doing all these kinds of things, and you have no coverage. Something happens, you slip, you slide, you bruise an arm or something like that, and then you have to go to a local hospital, and they're not going to take care of you. Some of these companies, when you go to some of these countries, even when you have travel insurance, they want cash up front. So you may not be able to get treatment even with travel insurance. It's just kind of weird, right? It's because they want to make sure they're getting their money. But some of the travel insurance companies are very good. And so you call them up, you say, here's what's happening. And that what they do is that they liaise with a hospital or whatever the circumstances are, and they take care of you. So don't be afraid to ask the travel insurance companies what the deal is. The claim processes are usually a little annoying. Reason why they're annoying is that there's a lot of fraud in insurance, and so they want to make sure that you're not defrauding them, right? I was in the lounge in Houston, and I had my iPad with me, and then when I got on the airplane, I didn't have the iPad, and I knew I had it in the lounge. I just didn't. And I knew that I looked around when I was leaving, and there was nothing left at the seat where I was. And so I lost it. So I put a claim in for it. And you give them all the costs and stuff like that. I didn't get the full value of it. I think I got maybe 80% or something like that. So depends on the policy you have. You may sometimes get the full value, or sometimes you may not, but it at least saved me some money. So just think that reimbursement is going to be annoying because that's just the process of insurance. And just make sure that you're on the up and up. Whatever happened, you tell them exactly what happened, and make sure it's covered. Sometimes the things aren't covered. Like, I didn't realize my phone thing wasn't covered until I went and I read the specific section that said it's covered. The good thing is that if you pay your phone bill with like an American Express card and something happens to the phone, they will fix it. So little things that's one of the perks of having the American Express. I think this is a platinum card that does that. So the first thing you do, go look at your credit card and see what's covered. And then go see if you use a credit card to pay for that party or vacation. And then once that is, then you call and you know they'll walk you through the reimbursement process and tell you what documents and stuff like that you need. So yes, when you're traveling, get travel insurance. It's peace of mind. This is Kerwin with Travel Talk. Have a great trip. Talk to you soon.